Hello, I'm Brian Tarrant, Head of Data Science Platform at the Royal Statistical Society. And in this series of short videos, we are previewing some of the papers and sessions at the upcoming RSS conference in Aberdeen. Today, I'm joined by Dr. Alice Toms, a research officer at the UK Statistics Authority's Centre for Applied Data Ethics. Hello, Alice.
Hi there.
Thank you for joining us today. So, you're speaking in the 9 a.m. session on Thursday, 15th of September, and that's on algorithmic bias and ethical considerations in data science. And in particular, your presentation focuses on ethical considerations in the use of machine learning for research and statistics. So, to start, it'd be good if you could tell us about some of the ways in which machine learning is currently being used for research and statistical purposes.
Yeah, the information that we can collect from machine learning kind of techniques can help us to explain loads of different things. It can help us to explain different phenomena. It can help us to make predictions based on like different trends and patterns from data sources.
Right.
And it can ultimately help us kind of make policy or decision making suggestions as well. And so it has a really kind of an incredibly wide range of application. And I think it can provide substantial benefits too, in that machine learning models can help us to analyze really large data sets and extract information potentially quite quickly as well. And the ability for models to kind of autonomously adapt to improve the quality and the validity of outcomes is often really invaluable to researchers as well.
Right.
So, for example, in the past, researchers have used machine learning techniques to understand different perceptions of public emergencies using social media data, all the way through to kind of estimating land usage and land coverage using satellite data. And I suppose that's just kind of two examples of its really wide application.
Right, and obviously, as you've described there are benefits to this use, but obviously, given your talk, the title of your talk, these obviously also give rise to ethical concerns. So, what are the sort of ethical concerns that you've got in mind?
Well, so I suppose, as with all research, we do need to think about the ethical issues associated with what we're doing when we first kind of start to think about our research projects and throughout kind of the life cycle of the research that we do. Um, I think ethical issues are arguably kind of particularly important to think about when we're using more contemporary methods, such as machine learning, because there's a potential risk that those methods might not only kind of pose, I suppose, what you'd call traditional data ethics considerations, so things like transparency or privacy concerns, but also new ones as well. And of course, it's probably also important to say that the ethical considerations of machine learning are going to be really dependent on the ways that you use machine learning in your research,
Right.
and the kind of research that you're doing. So in general, we'd need to consider issues such as kind of minimizing and mitigating bias, ensuring that we're kind of clearly communicating any of those biases, alongside any kind of limitations to our research. We also need to consider the transparency and the explainability of machine learning research and kind of the implications that might have on reproducibility. Um, then there's the importance of kind of maintaining accountability within all aspects of kind of machine learning processes. So we need to ensure that models are being developed and used kind of only for their intended purposes,
Yeah.
and that different kind of stakeholders, I suppose, are aware of what their responsibilities are in that regard. And then also, as I
See.
kind of mentioned really briefly before, there's also the need to consider kind of confidentiality and privacy risks arising from the data used, both in relation to how we use that data to train models, but
Mhm.
also the outputs resulting from the machine learning's findings as well.
Right. Okay. And all these kind of the ethical concerns you're going to outline in your talk. This is all based around some new guidance that's been created by the Statistics Authority, and that's been done with researchers from other national statistical institutes. So, is this guidance for official national statisticians, or is it for everyone? And how does it kind of seek to help with the issues you've just described?
Yeah, so the guidance was published earlier last year even.
Oh, right. Okay.
Um, and it was created in collaboration with the UNECE Machine Learning Ethics work stream. So we had a lot of input from different kind of machine learning experts, ethics experts, and kind of researchers more generally. So the guidance is really quite high level, and it focuses on the use of machine learning for research and kind of the production of aggregate statistics. So the guidance talks about the ethical considerations associated with the use of machine learning techniques for research and statistical purposes specifically. So it doesn't focus on kind of operational use cases or other ways of using machine learning. But that's not to say that it's kind of not at all relevant to people working in those areas. It's just that that's not its specific focus. It's probably also worth saying we don't claim that the guidance is kind of completely exhaustive. And it's not written in a kind of hugely technical manner as well. So it's pretty accessible. But it aims to kind of assist anyone from analysts, researchers, data scientists, statisticians, essentially anyone kind of navigating the ethical issues surrounding machine learning based projects. So it's divided into several parts. We provide kind of an initial introduction to machine learning and ethics, and then we talk about those common ethical considerations, and also link to a lot of really useful further resources as well. And when we discuss those ethical considerations, we also provide kind of practical suggestions on how to mitigate those issues within the research that we do. And so the hope is that the guidance not only outlines what those ethical considerations are, but also provides like a practical resource and practical advice on how to address those. And then we've also got an ethics checklist as well. So that's based on the UK Statistics Authority's ethical principles. And it essentially summarises kind of the guidance and the content of the guidance so that researchers can kind of keep a record of the ethical kind of decision-making processes, I suppose you'd say, and identify any areas that they've possibly missed in those processes.
I suppose it's quite handy. That sort of thing would be quite handy, right? If you're setting out on a project, to have a kind of checklist alongside you that you can kind of keep referring back to make sure at all stages, right, you're thinking about these questions, you're thinking about these issues that you're putting forward in the guidance.
Yeah, definitely. So I think our ethics checklists, we put them in all the guidance that we produce, and we kind of encourage researchers to think about ethics throughout the life cycle of their project. So it's a lot easier to kind of consider the ethical problems that might arise in your project and deal with them before they become problematic than waiting until there's an issue. And so that checklist kind of, as you say, helps you to kind of keep accountable throughout that process, I suppose.
Okay. And if people want to find out more about the guidance, to read it for themselves, is it, you said it's been published already, so it's available online? Is it through the Statistics Authority website?
Yeah, so it's published on our website. It's available for anyone to view, free access, and it's been published alongside kind of several other pieces of ethics guidance that the centre's also produced. So it's a simple Google search, just UK Statistics Authority Centre for Applied Data Ethics, and that should take you straight there. And it also might be worth saying as well that I'll actually be presenting twice at the RSS conference. So as you said, my talk on the machine learning guidance is taking place on the Thursday morning, and then I'll also be giving a talk on kind of the practical application of ethics more generally and the kind of support services that the centre provides to researchers on the Wednesday afternoon, I think.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Well, thanks for giving us a taste of that one talk, and obviously I encourage people to go along to your other talk there, because obviously they seem to fit together quite nicely. So
Yeah.
provide a nice rounded overview of ethics in this context. So we look forward to that. Thank you for joining us today, Alice. Look forward to seeing you in Aberdeen. So the RSS International Conference 2022 takes place from the 12th to the 15th of September at PNJ Live Aberdeen. See rss.org.uk/conference for the full programme and details on how to register. Thanks for watching.